All right, and welcome to our semifinal brawl today on SRG Gaming. We've got TGU Esport up against SRG Aries today for you. It is a semifinal matchup, and it is Division 4. And bringing you to action today is just myself, Night Star. Unfortunately, we couldn't get too many more people involved today here, but we've still got a fun matchup to watch and to cast for you guys. We have TGU and we have SRG Aries. Well, we're just waiting to get into the game here. Waiting on one last person from the side of TGU. It will be TGU starting out on the blue side. At least that's what it looks like initially. And talking about these teams, TGU and SRG Aries. Aries did play in the quarterfinal matchup 2 days ago. And they did advance over Friendship over Xenophobia, Team Fox, and a little bit of unfortunate circumstances for Fox as they did have to be disqualified. However, SRG Aries, well, they still made it through. Their first game wasn't too pretty, and some of the things to just take out of that one game that we did see in the quarterfinals is, Warlord Reaper had some of the big plays to make early on, picking the early ganking jungler in Elise, also has the Jarvan in his pool, so he wants to be really proactive. And in that game number 1 that we did get to see, he was trying to make plays. However, it did feel a little bit like the thought was there, the actions quite weren't there. And that's just something to keep track of when we're moving forward into this series, and that definitely will be a point of power that TGU can try and exploit here, as we do have some chatter going on. Not sure of what's we are still waiting for the last player. Hopefully it comes in sooner rather than later, because I know we all want to get the game underway. But going back over to SRG Aries, they did save the last pick for Non. So Non is that big one-trick Riven player. However, in that one game, we also did see he actually had it available to him, but didn't opt for the pick, which is a little bit curious, instead opting over to a Jax pick, which he's not familiar on. So that does seem to be something to also just keep track of, is do SRG Aries, do they continue to pick a little bit non-conventional champions for their players as far as their player pools go, or will they opt for more comfort, especially in this series where they are playing up against a little bit of a titan in TGU-Esport? We have just a lot more power up and down the lineup from this roster here, and it's going to be a tall order. It will be a very, very tall order here. And we are just waiting for players to get in. We are starting up the draft very, very quickly here. The last player jumped in and they just immediately swung straight into the game. So now we're waiting in the draft phase. Lord Sleepy has that first ban up and available. It is going to be that Jinx ban targeted at Hawkeye. Hawkeye playing a lot of Jinx games, and Jinx very much in the meta right now with a lot of the crit 80 carries coming back into flavor. So certainly something that can be very prominent in this series that's being taken away by the side of Aries. Wanting to deny Redline that very powerful initiation support, also has a lot of flexibility elsewhere. Silas taken away from Nigel. Not going to be a non-champion really there, although, Aries have shown the propensity to try and flex a little bit in non-conventional ways. Vayne will be that next ban taken away from Okong. I expect to see the Riven ban. However, they could opt for a last ban on the side of TGU to go for something like the Elise or the Jarvan to try and mitigate some of that early jungler pressure that could come out from Warlord Reaper, and instead they're going to ban out the Morgana. One Trick Parnstar playing a little bit of the Morgana recently. Not very too hard practiced on the champion, but it is still very strong in the meta still, and the hover is going to be on Yuumi. Yuumi very good in the 2v2, does struggle a little bit outside of the lane phase. There's a very snowbally. If you start winning a lane, you typically just win more. However, once you fall behind, you really fall behind quite a bit, just because of how Yuumi mostly augments that 80 carry. Just makes that 80 carry incredibly powerful, but it still feels like in how I view Yuumi, it's a 1.5 lane versus 2, because you make your 80 incredibly powerful. However, it is still only half a champion when you do use Yuumi, and it becomes incredibly dependent on how good your AD carry is, and we'll see how Okong does. As Red Lion will be taking it up here. Nautilus Kaisa locked in for the side of SRG. I like this kill pressure coming in from this. If you do land the hook, you're going to be very effective with it. It's just a matter of, being able to execute in this lane. You're going to take a lot of poke. However, once you land that hook, you could end up getting that 2-for-1 special. Buy one, hook one, get one free. In the Ezreal with the Yuumi. However, having the Ezreal locked in means there's a lot of defensive capabilities in this bottom lane. Ezreal going to be able to jump out and take Yuumi with him. It does mean that Yuumi can play a little more aggressive. Eat the hook from the Nautilus, then jump back to the Ezreal, and then Ezreal can escort them both out. Mumu locked in here. I'm not sure if it's placeholder. It doesn't seem to be a placeholder, at least recognized in the chat quite yet. So a Mumu, one of the junglers that did get hit with a small nerf here, had 3% taken off of his true damage of his passive, but still going to be incredibly powerful, especially with an AD carry such as Kaisa, who does have quite a bit of magic damage loaded into her kit. Now we're going to see the Aatrox and the Vladimir being banned out. And the Nico ban thrown down by the side of TGU here. Nico directed at Nigel, and Jax directed at Non. And in this draft, I'm expecting to see that last pick for Non here. And it does appear to be so, unless if it's a little bit of a power flex throwing Nihilus up in the top lane, but you do run into some of those issues. It really just depends on what kind of style you want to go for, and I really, really want to see this Riven come out. Just put him something that he's comfortable on, as the Syndra will be the lock-in here. So a little bit of farm lane locked in from both sides. It's going to be very jungler dependent here, as we do see the Teemo hover. Of course, it's just a hover. We'll have to see what the final lock-in will indeed be. And it's going to be the Ornn picked up here for Lord Sleepy, which definitely opens up the possibility of a carry top laner. And the Urgot is being hovered, can melt through the tanks relatively easily here. So it is a good champion in that 2v2 in that top lane here. It's just a matter of, is this the correct fit for None? And we'll have to see when we jump into the game. But both compositions are now locked in here. We have TGU, Ornn, locked in the top lane, Sejuani, Syndra, Ezreal, Yuumi. Of course, we gotta look at those Yuumi summoners taking the heal ignite, not going for the exhaust ignite, going for the extra kill potential. Instead, taking the heal just to compensate for the teleport on Ezreal here. Ezreal, of course, having the teleport means that he can go back to lane with the Yuumi. And they can get back to lane incredibly fast here, as Kai'Sa is going to be rocking that heal summoner and Nautilus with the ignite. So they're going to be going a little bit standard here. And I guess now over on the side of Aries, we have the Urgot, we have the Mumu, we have the Orianna, Kai'Sa, Nautilus. And now we can start to break down these team compositions. You have very heavy team fight from both of these teams. In fact, both of these mid laners opting for the teleport, which I think is a little bit ill-advised for Nigel here. Not taking the cleanse or the barrier could prove to be quite deadly for him, in my opinion. But both of these team compositions, again, very focused around the team fight. A little bit, I would say, of losing lanes on the side of TGU with the Ornn and the Ezreal. You're going to be a little more passive here. And the one big pressure lane is going to be the Syndra pick. That Kavili will be the big power lane to play around for Groupion Nani. I kind of hope I was close to saying that correctly, but I have the impression that I missed the ball completely on that one. But over on the side of Aries, they do have the kill pressure down in the bot lane. They have the kill pressure up in the top lane. And it's really all about Nigel to mitigate this mid lane, neutralize it. Maybe if a Mumu Warlord Reaper does make a pit stop over there, maybe they can try and make a play there. But it's hard to really count on that one, as the Mumu does want to have a little bit of a farm, is going to have a harder time ganking than the Sejuani, as the Sejuani just has more tools, right? You can dash in, and if you miss the dash, you still have 2 procs, so you're slow. Whereas Mumu, if he misses the bandage toss, he doesn't gap close if he doesn't hit anything. So he's going to be looking to try and hit that level 6 breakpoint. However, this Amumu is still a very important pick in this draft because you look at the Orianna, at the Kaisa, and this has a lot of damage potential that Amumu can amplify. So his passive is going to be very important in this game. It's going to be incredibly powerful in these team fights, especially in cutting down these tanks, as Urgot will also have a lot of impact against the tank line. Against that front line, he's going to be incredibly powerful, and that's also one of the things to point out for the side of TGU. They can lack a little bit of damage here. They have the Ezreal, they have the Syndra who spike early on, but as the game goes longer and longer, if we hit that 35-minute mark, the damage threats just aren't there on the side of TGU. But that is still a pretty hard win condition to get to. Hit that 35-minute mark and you're guaranteed to win. Although you do have a little more lane capabilities. And now we are loaded into the game here. Aries on the red side, TGU-Esports on the blue side. We'll see if the side of Aries go for a little bit of a cheesy level 1 here. We saw it in their first game of the quarterfinals. However, having the tapes on that does mean that TGU, they might not go hunting into those face tracks. They do give away a little bit of knowledge here. Throwing the ball into that bush, that Kavili will be able to realize that it's that there is an Orianna in the vicinity. They aren't going to be setting up a 5-man bush, and instead it's going to be a little bit of a slower approach. If it is the level 1 bush camp. No. The Mumu not really showing where he wants to go here. Will be that blue start coming in. And it's just going to be a bottom side start from both of these teams. And Aries showing good control here. Throwing down that early vision, getting vision of the Raptor camp, and also that pixel brush up in the top side. So I do think that the pixel bush ward at 120 loses a lot of its effectiveness now, just because of the fact that there just isn't a scuttle crab to fight for early on. So you do have to be a little more. It really depends on if the Sejuani does make an early move, and level 2 hit by Nigel means that he's going to get a little bit of that extra lane pressure until Syndra hits level 2 as well. And a little bit of a small moment of threat, and the hook does land coming in from One Trick Prime Star. And it's just going to be shifted on out of there by Okong. And it is going to be a little bit of a slow start here. Mostly because, well, the side lanes coming in from... here comes the hook. It's going to land, but Yuumi things happening means that Yuumi is able to just jump on out of there. And okay, all right, that was a little bit of a weird thing. Don't know what happened to myself there. I might have just cut out there, but my game did freeze. And Hawkeye does losing that heal is going to be pretty impactful there, and none taking so much damage. Most of it coming in from those creeps there. It's going to hurt him quite a bit, as I did fall behind a little bit there. And first blood going to be locked in. I did miss that gank there, unfortunately. But first blood locked in on the top side for Non and Warlord Reaper. Lord Sleepy does fall. Is going to be a nice little lead going in for Non there. And one trick Parn Star. All right, so we're just going to try and catch up here. And here comes the kill. The gank coming in. Grubby finding himself that kill into that mid lane. And that's what I was mentioning earlier. Nigel, without taking that cleanse, means that he is incredibly vulnerable in that mid lane. Going for a very greedy teleport summoner. I mean, sure, he has that unsealed spellbook, but if you're going to take unsealed spellbook, it's just much better to take the cleanse and then, take the teleport in the scenarios when you do need the teleport. And instead, we just see him fall away. A little bit of an aggressive invade coming in from Grubby. Is just going to be a little bit of peak. He is going to be sent back home there. However, it does mean that now Warlord Reaper and Nigel, they go and get that deep vision. It is a very nice little play there coming in from SRG Aries. Not missing the crap fight. Is it the crap? The disdain. That is the word for it. And, he is going to have a good time here at some point. And most likely that point will be when he hits that black lever. We'll be able to shred that armor. Additionally, once he hits that level 9 breakpoint, that also will be a big boon for him up in the top lane. Just being able to have that W up nonstop in combination with the Conqueror, in combination with that Black Cleaver, is going to make him an incredibly happy boy here. And Redline is just playing very aggressively up against Parn Star, throwing a lot of poke damage, and woo! One trick is having a rough time. And Warlord Reaper, here comes the gank into the mid lane. Nigel is going to get locked down here. He's going to throw it on the shockwave. He is able to get a little bit of a CC to get himself out of there. And now here comes Non. He's going for the fight against Lord Sleepy. He has the ultimate thrown down onto him. He doesn't get the execute, but Warlord Reaper does find the kill into that little bush there. And he's going to be a very happy man. And Non, he's going to find the kill onto Lord Sleepy. SRG Aries coming out with the 2-4-0 across the map. That's going to feel really good for them here. And now, we've hit a little bit of a slow point here. Warlord Reaper, level 5, coming up onto that level 6 breakpoint. Here comes the teleport coming in from Lord CP. He has the ultimate available. Does he throw it out there? No. The answer is no. He could have fished for it, but Hawkeye did have the heal available, so would have been able to keep himself alive through that. Warlord Reaper, though, is getting a little bit low there onto that blue buff. We'll be able to secure it, but that's a little bit spooky. That's all I have to say. And Grapionani is going to be able to clear out that ward there. And Non, he's just throwing down so much damage up in the top lane. And he is out to a very, very big lead as Lord Sleepy. He wants a piece of this. As my internet is giving me the rough one. Is it? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the fact that my game is being rough on me. There are some issues going on with League, so bear in mind. I'm not gonna. That might compound with the fact that I am casting from NA. Might just be everything compiling on top of each other. But we will try and... okay. All right. Okong, just 1v1's Kaisa. And that's going to be Okong out to a very big lead down into that bot lane as well. Has an 1,000 gold lead. And even though, you had the lanes going for the side of Aries, there's still some of these, outplay potentials. And Lord Sleepy, I think he's just dead as known. He's going to be getting that ultimate now. Fear Beyond Death is going to lock down Lord Sleepy. He has been put to sleep here. And Aries, able to respond. Very good response, losing, even though they did lose that bot lane impact there, are able to respond in kind up in the top side. And, Non, he is the big power point for this team. He has the 3-1 stat line. He has the extra plates going for him in that top side as well. And this gold lead, he's got a 1,200 gold lead. It's about him now just taking control of this game. He's going to be able to 2v2 incredibly well with the jungler in tow, of course, just because it is two tanky top laners up at the top side, and now he's going to have that Black Cleaver completed. And with that completed and the level 9, he is so incredibly terrifying. And I expect, Aries to just tunnel in and just play around that top side as kill does come through in that bottom side. Again, having a little bit of a lag issue. There is a little bit of a problem with the League client. I did miss out onto that kill, and Nigel, he might be in trouble looking for that shockwave. Is going to land the shockwave, and that's going to go straight into the ultimate of Warlord Reaper, finding himself that kill onto Syndra. But no, he wants more. He's going to throw out the ultimate onto Grub, and Grub, he's just trying to get out, but Lord Sleepy, he's going to be sacrificing. No, he still wants more. Can he find the pick onto Grub? But None with the purge is going to auto proc that blast plant and assist Grubby out of that situation. And still not a bad trade for Aries. They have the kill lead. They have the 2.5 gold gold lead here as well. We see Orianna Nigel swapping over to that smite, indicating that they want to contest this next dragon. And not sure if that's correct here. Not sure if that's the correct play, given the fact that it is that Cloud Drake. Maybe he's just wants to get himself the blue buff, as he does have a blue buff already for himself. Maybe he wants to secure the Scuttle Crab with smite. What is he going to smite here? Oh, it is going to get stolen away from him, and that's just unfortunate. That Kavili. Oh, and Hawkeye. He is in very big trouble. And Parnsar, he might get locked down himself. And here comes Sejuani looking and hunting for these kills. Has the ultimate not available. So unable to really cash in, throw out that ultimate to get the big money. But able to secure more turret plates for his bot lane here. It's going to be incredibly nice. And none, he's being thrown down into this bottom lane. And okay, one trick Parnstar sticking around here, even though he didn't have any health. It's gonna be incredibly low here. And here comes the kills coming in, and they do secure everything. They find the kills, they find the dragon. They trade it for a top lane tower, but if you're the side of Aries, that is very, very worth. They get themselves the kill onto Grupion Nani, and the kill onto the Syndra as well. So SRG Aries operating on quite the power play here. They have that 2k gold lead. Sure, the gold lead isn't expanding quite that much as you'd like, but it is still only 15 minutes into the game. Ultimate coming in. Does he find the kill onto the Orianna? It's not, but here comes the ultimate coming in from the Ornn. Does he find the knockup? It is not going to find the knockup, and Nigel should be able to walk it off with those blue suede shoes dancing on the ballroom floor. And now it's going to be the side of TGU, able to find a little bit of power here, shoving up this mid lane. We do have the man immune completed by Hawkeye here, but it's just not as powerful as the Sheen man immune from Okong. And he is also much farther along as far as the man immune path goes, getting to that Muramata status. Warlord Reaper 403 here. He is incredibly powerful. Going for the Thunderhawk means that he is opting for that tank build, even though, there is the possibility of getting the runic echoes with the cheaper completion cost and just the cheaper cost in general. Hit a huge power spike in that regard. And again, for those who new to joining us onto this stream, we are facing a little bit of issues from my end. So if I don't cover all the action, do realize that there are some game issues happening in League of Legends. Small indie company, can't blame them really. And yeah, I'm not going to be able to catch all the action necessarily, and hopefully, we'll still hit some of those key points. As here comes the engage into that mid lane. One trick Parnstar is going to get burned down here, and it's just a 2v or 3v3 turnaround here coming out from the side. Out from the side of TGU-Esports here. And Okong is just going to be caught out here. The ultimate going to be thrown down. And here comes the Hawkeye ultimate killer instinct is going to assist in bringing down Okong. And now here comes Nigel giving that speed boost over to a Warlord Reaper. He's going to find that bandage toss. And they follow up with the shockwave and catch out the Yuumi. And Yuumi, pretty easy kill to secure here, and Lord Sleepy throwing down the ultimate himself. Won't be able to find anything with it. And as in the case of all Yuumi games, you get the 2-for-1 special if you hook that 80 carry and lock down that 80 carry. You get a bonus. That bonus Yuumi. And an initial great play coming out from the side of TGU, but then just a little bit of an overextension, and SRG Aries with a fantastic punish there. Warlord Reaper is going to be incredibly beefy in this game. Has 90 CS, 504 here, has the stone plate completed. He is almost the richest man on the server right now. Just a little bit behind that other big man up in the top side. Oh, here comes the hook going to land in. And Warlord Reaper with the fact that he has that aftershock is going to be incredibly durable, can just go in whenever he wants, as long as he has that available to him, of course. And Hawkeye just caught out of position, but it might be a long con here. One trick Parsar is going to land the hook onto the Syndra. Oh, actually doesn't land the hook onto the Syndra. Oh, my bad. And now Parsar is going to be the one to get burned on out of here. And the kills are just coming in, as I missed most of them. You know, maybe the kills are the reason why I'm lagging. If there's less kills, maybe I won't lag as much. And the sphere's coming in from Detskavili is going to find a lot of poke damage onto the side of SRG. They're forced to turn away from further pursuing that dive. And while they were able to cash in onto 2 kills for the side of TGU, they still aren't able to secure the big important ones, which is the top half of the map. You want that kill onto Nigel, you want the kill onto Known or Warlord Reaper, because those are the big money makers in this game. You're going to get that fat shutdown if you kill one of those members. Whereas if you kill that bot lane, you know, you're not getting the most insane value. And One Trick Parsar has been incredibly underwhelming on this Nautilus. Of course, you know, he is one of the few initiation tools on their team, so you know you're okay with just throwing him in. But if you go down 4v5 too often, eventually the side of TGU will find that one fight where they are able to, you know, cash in on that man advantage. Here comes the ultimate. It isn't going to land. He is going to get shockwave now, and here comes the ultimate coming in from Yumi. Do you lock in enough members? No, it's not going to be enough, as now Warlord Reaper, he's just charging straight forward. Redline is going to eat the hook, but he is still able to get out with the impact of Yumi, and now no, he wants more. He's going to miss the fear beyond death, and now this could get turned around by the side of TGU. They're going to find the damage down onto Known. He is going to get cashed in on, and now Oko, he could cash in onto everything. Finds the flash, finds the shutdown, and the double kill. And he is in an incredibly powerful position. They want more. He's not going to get that third kill, but it will be the shutdown going over to Grubby, and that could be an opening to turn onto this Baron buff. Warlord Reaper is incredibly low. Det Kavili, he could just run interference here, as they're going to look to try and clear out some of this vision. Grubby, a little bit low here. Maybe not the most ideal time to start up the Baron, but Okong, incredibly powerful, has that Muramana completed, has the Vampiric Scepter to go along with it, and that just might be the fight that the side of TGU were looking for. As now they're able to get back into this game. They are able to close the gold differential down to 1k. It is still going to be an incredibly uphill battle here, just because this is where the side of TGU are strongest, right? We have the double magic pen and the Luden's Echo built onto the Syndra. She is that burst mage, so this is the peak of her powers. where no one else aren't quite there yet. At least the squishies aren't quite there yet with the defensive itemization, so you can just nuke out any one of those squishy members. And of course, Ezreal with the core 2 items, the Muramana and the Iceborne Gauntlet. That's the big power spike for him. Redline could get caught out here. He is going to try and jump to his mid laner. Ooh, here comes ultimate. Is going to get locked down. Is going to find himself one, but did Aries bite off a little more than they can chew? And now here comes the shockwave. It's going to be locking down to Okong. He's in trouble here. He's trying to get out of here. He's going to be able to escort his Yuumi out of there, but can he get out himself? Okong is still eating damage from Nigel. Is going to pop that Blade of the Ruined King. Will be able to get himself out of there. And does he arcane shift in for that extra damage? The answer is no. However, for the side of SRG, it's just incredibly difficult to push in. Yuumi able to just constantly heal this Ezreal. Still has the Ignite available for her. And Okong just incredibly powerful at this point. Just able to push them away. 1v4. Aries forced to take that recall. Not even opting to try and get Baron Vision. Instead, just opting for that reset. I do feel it is a little bit ill-advised. They should have turned over to that Baron, at least clear out these control wards and maybe start threatening the fact that you could do it. But, what's done is done. And I do understand that I might have been behind, but I do want to at least cover it for you guys, even if there is a little bit of a time differential here. And I'm at 35. I'm at 40 seconds in. Ooh, we see the ultimate being thrown down onto the Nautilus. Here comes the ultimate coming in from the Ezreal. Doesn't quite hit. I'm at 58 right now. Cresting to 26 minutes into the game here. Sorry, we are just trying to line up our streams here, making sure everyone stays on top of the action. And it will be SRG Aries now turning towards this dragon. It is going to be a second mountain dragon for the side of Aries, which is going to be nice. It's going to... All right. And they're turning over for the Baron here, but, with this vision denial, they might be able to lock out the side. Oh, okay. Okong face checking in. Whoa. Okay. Throws on the Yuumi ultimate. Is it going to be enough? Hawkeye, he's hurting a little bit as well, but Okong eating so much damage there. Does mean that, he's going to be hurting, but now here comes the Baron. Is not going to get started up here by Aries. They have the double Mountain Dragon. If they don't pull the trigger onto this Baron buff, they're only going to be losing out here, as their rotational game just isn't there. You have the double Mountain. If you don't hit objectives, this is my one gripe with Mountain Dragon. It rewards the proactive teams because you're looking to get towers, you're looking to get objectives. But if you're not very proactive, you're looking for, and if you're also being proactive looking for fights, you don't get any value out of the Mountain Dragon. Because sure, you get extra damage if you kill them afterwards onto the objectives, but it's more about the big macro plays. You want to be ahead of the game. You know, take the sneaky dragon, take the sneaky baron, and the 20% extra damage doesn't make much of a difference if they're all dead, you know? And I don't know. Aries just needs to be a little bit better on the trigger finger as far as the macro play goes, but here's an opportunity to fight as, Nigel just out of position. No, now in the middle of a team fight. Huge Yumi ultimate coming on down is going to lock down multiple members. Hawkeye going in, trying to finish off Okong, but does he find the finish? It doesn't seem like he can, as Okong is still in an incredibly powerful position. It is going to be a 2-for-2 exchange, but SRG Aries still can't do the Baron. Okong now potentially caught out here. He is just going to dash around. He's going to get hit up by the stain by Non, and Non will be able to get the shutdown onto the Ezreal. Now that Kavili, he has to just make his way out of here. But the side of Aries still can't do the Baron buff. That's the important part here. Without the damage dealers in the Kai'Sa, and Nigel at such low HP, they just aren't able to go all the way through here. And that Kavili will be able to hold on to this mid lane tower. And this game just feels dead even. The side of Aries, you know, they are showing a lot of power in the team fight, at least in the top half. As consistently we see in these fights, it comes down to Hawkeye and Barnstar going in a little bit too far. And then Non, Warlord Reaper having to make up so much of that extra damage. And, you know, Hawkeye just feels like he's overextending a little bit for Okong. And that's a, you know, perfect example there. Just running straight forward, just wanting that. And Nigel, he might end up getting punished for that mistake. Oh, here comes the ultimate. Fear Beyond Death is going to land, and it is going to pull them in. They do find one kill back, and it might be another kill going in favor of Norn. Now Lord Sleepy, he is out of position, wants to kill onto Hawkeye. Will he be able to find it? No, he won't be able to, but Okong, he will die. And now Redline, he's just there for the ride, and he is dead as well. And SRG Aries, finally, they find the clean fight. They find a fight where Hawkeye is able to stay alive when the backline is just running him in. He's got no time to worry about diving straight into that backline to get one shot. He's only thinking about trying to get rid of Lord Sleepy. So Lord Sleepy helping him out there. And Aries, is this the break point for the game? Is this the lead they found to finally get a substantial enough lead to be able to close out this game? They're going to be able to cash in onto this Inferno Dragon, and that might be the break point with so much damage built onto this team. The Inferno Dragon might be the one that breaks the camel's back here, but it is going to be Baron started up here. The collapse is coming in from the side of Aries. The flash going to come in through from Dead Kavili. We'll be able to get on out of here. Okong still staying very aggressive here. Has the arcane shift. We'll be able to lay down the damage. Throws on the ultimate. Only finds a little bit of chip damage. He doesn't have the AP built up to really throw down the big DPS here. And I mean, he has a lot of magic damage threats on his team. So it makes sense that he's going for more of an AD build here. And Hawkeye, he's opted for all 3 upgrades. Going for the Gnasher's Tooth, has the Muramana finally completed. I'm not sure what time he had it built up here, but it was probably around 25 or 28 minutes. If someone in the chat, could throw me a bone and let me know if you noticed when the Muramana indeed changed up here. Nigel is going to disconnect. Okay, it was okay. I guess now we're all caught up here, right? We are all caught up here on the stream with that pause being the big assistance here. Nigel has the clarity built up here, so looking for a little bit of a siege play. Teams should get close to readying up here, and I guess we can take stock very briefly of what teams want to do for the side of TGU. I guess this is something we can definitely talk about because they are the ones behind. It's about what moves can they make to get back into this game, and it's really try and kill that front line. It's incredibly difficult for you to try and kill the front line here. You don't quite have the Void Staff completed onto Det Kavili, and that's going to be an incredibly important break point for this Syndra. Just being able to one-shot some players effectively, but you can still one-shot Nigel, you can still one-shot Hawkeye if you are able to find those 2 players. And it's just going to be the Baron dance coming out from SRG Aries. Maybe this time they will decide to pull the trigger. For Aries, it's all about finding that Baron to close out the game. Okong is going to be able to get over the wall, but Nolan still looking very aggressive here. Has the Death Stance completed, so has a lot of healing here. Okong has to be incredibly careful with his positioning along with that Kavili. There's just so much catch potential from the side of Aries. It really comes down to having these frontline tanks stay up in the front lines, being able to eat some of the catch potential from Aries. Eat the hook from One Trick Pawn Star. Eat the bandage from Warlord Reaper. Of course, you have to be in a good spot to make sure you don't escort in the Shockwave or the Curse of the Sad Mummy. So it's a lot harder for the side of TGU to play this game out here from a tank standpoint. Oh, here comes the hook. It is going to land on. They just escort them deep into the back line, but they do find the one shot, and this could be turning in favor for the side of TGU. They find 2 immediately, and they find a 3rd, and Naughty's trying to make up for all the damage he doesn't have on his team, and it's just not enough. As TGU-Esports find the 5-for-1. And they're going to give themselves a Baron. And the initiation was incredibly beautiful from SRG Aries. You saw Kong bring the Mumu all the way back into the team. The Mumu got a beautiful ultimate, but when you're running in head first into the Yuumi ultimate, that's when things just turned around, and Okong just so hard to lock down. Hawkeye, that ultimate, baby. Like, killer instinct. Sometimes you gotta hold on to it a little bit longer. Make sure they use some of those lockdown cooldowns before you go all the way in. And whoo, Hawkeye, he got slapped in that fight. And now it's going to be the side of TGU getting themselves that Baron buff. They're cresting. They're getting to that 40-minute mark, and I said it's going to be incredibly difficult for the side of TGU to pull the game out if it gets past 35 minutes, just because they do lack a little bit of that damage. But if Hawkeye keeps falling down that early, and if Nigel keeps eating so much damage at the start of fights, then it just becomes incredibly easy to play out here, because then it's just Known and Warlord Reaper against the world. And here comes the dragon. It is going to get secured up here. It is a 4 dragon. Oh, and Okong picks off Nigel, and this could be the big turn around. Lord Sleepy, he's throwing down that flash just to get in range. Help out his Yumi get in range of that lockdown onto Nonin. On the side of Aries, they were able to secure themselves to that dragon buff. It's only on 3 members. And I would say it's not on the big members here. Sure, you get it on Warlord Reaper, and Hawkeye is going to reap some benefits, but Hawkeye's play has been a little bit of that. And Grub, he's just going to go straight forward onto one trick, and this might be the end of the game. With that Baron buff, they just have so much siege power. There's just no way the side of Aries can get access to that backline to even try and fight this out. And game 1 goes over to TGU-Esports, closing it out in just a little before 39 minutes. And in a hotly contested game number 1, we saw Not jump off to an insane start, getting those early kills, and then also being able to transition into quite a bit of power later on too, finishing the game 13-4. None was an absolute beast this game, but unfortunately the positioning of Hawkeye just made it a little bit hard for him to really take control of these fights, as the way you want to play the Kaisa is cleanup duty. You want to be able to clean up, but play around the Urgot. Your Urgot's so damn powerful. It just melts the front line of the side of TGU. So as long as you stay alive, you're able to just clean things up. But unfortunately, it didn't play out that way. And TGU, credit to them, they were able to find the key picks, find the key fights to finally cash in onto that Baron, and then cash in the game. But with that, that's game 1 going with TGU-Esports. We're going to send it over to a break. We'll be back as soon as we can. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back to this semi-final showdown between $39-minute banger. I'll have to be honest with you. Coming into this series, I was expecting a little bit of a one-sided slapdown, just based on what I saw in that game number 1 in their quarterfinals from Aries. But they really impressed me with a lot of that team play up in the top side of the map. None, Warlord Reaper, Nigel playing very well there to set up a lot of that early game plays. And None, he got all the kills. It was all on him to try and carry as hard as he could. And, he really did put in a lot of work for this team. Unfortunately, they ended up falling short. TGU playing in incredibly controlled here to just be able to slow the game down enough to get to that break point where they were able to find that one fight. A lot of the early fights were very close, and some of them they lost, some of them they won by small margins, but eventually they found the one that really turned the game around, and they were able to immediately close off of it. And I think that's a really big counterpoint here is just the difference between the teams. You see the side of Aries, they get some kills. They aren't able to immediately cash it in for objectives, but the moment the side of TGU smelled blood in the water, they won that team fight, they immediately just cashed in onto the Baron, found the fight around the Dragon. Sure, they gave up the Dragon, but they found important kills, and then they were able to immediately end the game right after. And now we're into this draft phase. Let's just talk about some of these picks. It does seem to be very similar to what we saw in game number 1. Silas Jinx being banned out by the side of TGU, and Vayne Thresh being banned out by the side of Aries. And now they made that first adaptation, and it's going to be that Yuumi banned out here. So dropping the Jarvan ban, knowing that they do have first pick in this draft, and picking up the Yuumi instead. Now it's going to depend on whether or not the side of TGU, if they value that Jarvan enough, but it doesn't seem to be one of the big important picks here, as maybe they are forcing a little bit of a decision making from the side of Aries, and Aries are going to lock in that Aatrox for that first pick, and that's going to leave the Jarvan available for Gruppy to lock on in here, but Orianna going to be locked in instead. So taking away from Nigel, and instead pairing it up with this incredibly powerful Jarvan-Orianna combination. It's going to be... It has the same effect as the Curse of the Sad Mummy. A shockwave combination, but Jarvan's just much more reliable in getting into that forward position, right? You miss the bandage toss, you don't move forward anymore then. But the Jarvan, the flag and drag, means he always moves forward as long as, you don't mess that part up. And the Rise locked in. We see a lot of Rise in the pro play because he is just so powerful as a flex pick. And with Aatrox also locked in, there's double flex potential coming in from Aries. It's just a matter of, are they able to play out both of these champions? Because Rise is just such an incredibly difficult champion to play, at least post lane phase. And now we're headed into that second phase. Morgana finishing off the side for TGU, locking in that support, going for another mage support now that the Yumi is taken away here. And it'll be interesting to see what one trick Parnstar does look to lock in for himself in this bottom lane. Does he go back onto that Nautilus pick? Or does he... Okay, well, he doesn't get the choice of picking that Nautilus pick because it's banned. And now's the real question. What else do you have? Both your hook champions are taken away with the Nautilus and the Thresh. Thresh being the one banned out by the side of Aries. Surprisingly enough, but you know, there's a lot of that is one of those contested picks. But now maybe it comes down to just trying to take the mage battle into that Morgana, and now it's going to be that most likely 80 carry pick taken up for Old Kong. They can opt for that Ezreal pick once again, or they can opt for something more aggressive. And actually, they're going to save the 80 carry pick for Blast, which is very surprising here because it does maybe signal that they want to perhaps play the Kai'Sa or Lucian, but depends on the matchup necessarily. And Sion, you do know that you're going to be playing into the Aatrox or the Rise. There's not going to be something insanely curveball-y from the side of Aries in that regard. So you do have the ability to lock in that Sion with that first pick in the second phase and save something like the Caitlyn for last pick, Caitlyn Morgana. Oh, okay, opting at the last moment to swap over to the Kai'Sa here. I would have loved to see that Caitlyn Morgana. That would have been an incredibly punishing lane for Aries to deal with the Sivir Lux. Sure, you can shove back out after a certain degree, but Sivir wants at least that BF sword or, you know, the pickaxe to really start counter pushing. So up until then, Caitlyn Morgana just absolutely wins that. But it will be the Aatrox. Yep, it will be the Aatrox up in the top side up against that Sion. Wait. Are you allowed to do last second swaps? Because that was past 20 seconds. So is this grounds for a remake? I did see the swap come in, but I suppose it's on the side of TGU to call it out here. And as it stands, Sion is going to have an incredibly rough time against Rise. However, if Jarvan makes a visit up into this top lane, if Sion finds that knock up onto the Rise, it could very much go downhill from there. So that is just something to keep note of, as with any carry matchup in the top side. If you die as a carry, you could lose so much more. But the Orianna Aatrox matchup, Orianna wants to farm things out, so this is a very good lane for the Aatrox to try and punish. Just being able to hop on in and have kill pressure on the Orianna. That's the last thing Orianna wants, you know, playing into a lane with kill pressure. And this time, Dead Kavili seen what happened against Nigel in the first game. Nigel just getting absolutely not having the best time of his life without that cleanse. Realizes, hey, this cleanse thing is probably a good idea. And in this bottom lane, we have two mages, Lux, a relatively good counter to Morgana just because of being able to just blow up that black shield later on. I do think Lux struggles to pop the black shield early though. Because I know that's why Vel'Koz is a counter pick into the Morgana, because if you hit the Q, it does just blow straight through that black shield, whereas Lux doesn't have as good of a time because it is a lot dependent on to your auto attacks, being able to get that passive procced off here. But we are starting to load on in here. We're getting very close to it, at least. Now it's just the time to break down the overall compositions. Aries going with the Rise in the top lane, Sejuani jungle, Aatrox mid, Sivir and Lux round out their bot lane. And for the side of TGU, we have the Sion in the top lane, the Jarvan in the jungle, the Orianna, Kai'Sa, Morgana to round out that damage threat from that composition. And it's going to be a lot of team fight for the side of TGU. So opting for another round of team fighting compositions. Lord Sleepy swapping over from the Ornn over to now the Sion, as Ornn did get taken away from him. Still, I think very strong tank. Probably the 2 or 3 tanks you would consider if you are playing a tank in the top lane. For all around well-roundedness, being able to lane and then transition out of lane. There are some special picks like the Poppy and like the Mundo that can also be played, but they're just a little bit less flexible. Mundo, you want to play into a lot of magic damage and yada yada. But we have a lot of team fight being built up from the side of TGU and going for a little bit of power play with going for the Orianna and the Kai'Sa, 2 picks at the side of SRG Aries. They played before, but to not as great effects, especially that Kai'Sa. And now Kong, he wants to flex a little bit onto Hawkeye. But for the side of Aries, they really want to try and work these side lanes. Sure, they can team fight a little bit because they have the team fight damage from Hawkeye, from Parn Star. And Nigel, ooh, the bind's going to land and he is... Ooh, not dead. But he is dead now. Hawkeye flashing and healing after, or Okong flashing and healing after Hawkeye. It's going to feel real good for Okong here. And they're going to go in for a late invade as well. One trick Parn Star. Potentially caught out there, but they're not going to chase after her. Definitely could have aggressed further there, but you never know if it's just one or if it's the other 4 members sitting into that bush. And that's Kavili looking to be a little more aggressive in this lane, knowing that, it is a range versus melee matchup. Oriana does very well off of, getting that extra damage from her autos, being able to pressure a little bit along with the Aryan. Already looking relatively good here in this mid lane for Dead Kavili. Has also the corrupting potion, so going to be incredibly healthy. We have the longsword and 3 health potions being taken up by Nigel here as well. So it's going to be a sustained battle. The second knockup does come through, and big damage coming down into this mid lane as Kavili, he could run into issues as I am running issues. It would be nice if I don't get kicked out of this game, though. That would be the nicest part. But kill does not come through for Nigel there. Although Effie went for the flash play, definitely would have been able to cash in on a kill there, but just didn't trust himself quite enough there. And there's going to be the Lux Binding landing onto Okong. Okong unable to cash in onto his first blood quite yet. So that's going to feel nice. Warlord Reaper able to finish off that red buff there. Poke damage coming in from this Lux. And it is going to be that Aftershock Lux. So we've seen it, some of it into the pro play. If you hit your binding, you're durable. If you don't, then you just die. So it's going to be very dependent on one trick being able to hit its binds. Very high skill dependent support pick here is, sure, you can have some skill expression on to things like the Morgana as well. Oh, Lord Sleepy going to jump on. And here he comes flashing forward, gets the knockup. And Grumpy able to throw down extra damage, but no one able to get the phase rush, is able to run on out of there. But that's both of his health potions now being burned. He's going to be forced to take his back here. Does he have enough gold? He does have enough gold for the tier. Just barely enough. Red line going to throw out the mining, is going to land onto one trick Pine Star, and now Nigel, he's just dead. He even throws in the flash for good measure. And that's going to be, binding landing onto one trick. He doesn't have the extra resistances from the Aftershock. And now Grumpy, he can just go straight forward, charge on in. Bot lane looking to collapse, coming in from Aries here, but one trick Pine Star doesn't have. He's just going to turn straight onto Warlord Reaper. He's going to fall. Warlord Reaper, that is, and now Kong throwing in extra damage. The double binding lands, and Nigel's now here in response. Can they find the kill? Redline going to be able to secure the kill onto Hawkeye. Okong does fall in the end, but now here comes Des Kavili. He is now in range to help out his team. Nigel going to get binded down. Des Kavili is still very high health here. Doesn't have the mana pool to continue to pursue that, but one trick Pawn Star also didn't have mana. And that's going to be a big play coming out from the side of TGU. We saw in game number 1, they were very against the early skirmishes, but now they're very much opting into it, knowing that they have so much power onto Okong. Now being able to cash in onto that a little bit. Not quite there yet, as he is opting into that tier build, going for the mana immune. So looking for the blue build rather than the immediate power coming in from the Storm Razor. From a power position, I would have actually preferred the Storm Razor myself. Just because you can just go back, get yourself that BF sword, and immediately just own the lane. Whereas this, you're relying on being able to complete that Muramana very quickly. Which, is very much very much there for him. He will end up completing a very quick Muramana or Manamune, and hopefully that transitions into the Muramana. We're probably looking at maybe like an 18-minute Muramana, but now there's no mana onto Known. He's in trouble. Lord Sleepy, he's just going straight forward here. No, he just has to try and get that proc here. Lord Sleepy doesn't have the flash follow up, and now Warlord Reaper is in the vicinity, is going to be able to land, but now Grumpy, he's here, and he scares off the Reaper, and that's a big cash in, I would say, from the side of TGU, getting that free flash for little to no effort in that top side. That Kavili just continue to brawl it out in that mid lane. Well, a couple more levels means that he's able to move the ball around a lot more, and here comes the aggression onto One Trick Pawn Star. Doesn't have the aftershock available to keep himself alive, and he ends up falling right there. And Hawkeye, he's just running into so many issues down into this bot lane. He's died twice himself, and now his support's died. He just has to give up this lane pressure, and Redline is just so strong on this Morgana so far, and again, it shows the flaw of this Lux. If you aren't landing bindings, you're just not a very useful champion. Sure, you have a little bit of a shield, but the shield doesn't give you that much value quite yet. Does require more point investments to really start paying off, whereas you see the shield from Redline being able to be CC and vulnerable, that's still pretty useful here. Lord Sleepy is going to take a chunk from Known, and Known, he's opted into the corrupting potion for himself. Nigel just trying to just bully his way through this mid lane, but it's not gonna be quite there. Gropionani able to clear out some of the vision here, now looking to maybe set up for this Inferno Dragon. It is going to land onto One Trick Pawn Star, and he's going to get instantly jumped on, and incredible patience coming out from Okong, waiting for One Trick to path a little bit upwards, a little bit closer to that Jarvan, and instantly cash in onto more gold, and they are going to secure themselves an Inferno Dragon. The bind does land from Redline here, but will they be able to continue on forward? He's going to throw it on Ultimate Hawkeye, forced to burn the flash. There was just no way out for that Sivir. Lord Sleepy clearing out that control ward. And TGU, they had a little bit of a slow start in that game, number one. This time, they're just... feels like they're clearly trying to flex. And Warlord Reaper just unable to really find any plays with the Sejuani. Oh, here comes the roam coming in from Nigel. It is going to be able to find the chains, but they don't get the pullback onto Sleepy, and he's going to be able to walk it off. Has the teleport still, so he can get back into the lane. And Lord Sleepy, he might hang on to this teleport, making sure... oh, here comes the ultimate. It is going to be that shock wave from that Kavili, throwing it down. Ooh, Hawkeye dodging out onto the binding a little bit too willy-nilly here, and ultimate being popped by Lord Sleepy. Nigel still sticking around here. Ooh, that's going to be the pool thrown down by Hawkeye. It is going to be mitigated by the shield from Shield from the Lux. However, that's an 80 carry, and the mid laner having to recall for the side of Aries, and that's a lot of priority given away to the side of TGU. And now here comes the potential dive onto the spot lane. Red line is going to land the binding. Okong looking for that last kill, will be able to finish it off. Now here comes the engage coming in from Grumpy. Does he go in? He does. He ends up dodging out onto the knock up from Sejuani as well, and they just secure that kill. Now Grumpy, he could go in for more. Non-forced throw down the flash here, and even though he has a large CS lead here comes the collapse onto Nigel. Lord Sleepy's just having more impact, able to get across the wall with the Ghost Blade. Still has to continue running, however, as he now pops that ultimate. Ooh, forced to throw down the flash as well. The pullback does come down onto Grumpy, but unable to find that last Dark and Blade smash. They do find the lockdown onto Lord Sleepy, but that still is the Rift Herald being completed there, as they get 0 value out of that Rift Herald. That's a little awkward, not gonna lie. Could have held it for that top lane to throw it up against that Rise, open things up, counter push a little bit against that Rise, relieve some of the pressure. Redline now throwing out the bind, will be able to land onto Nigel. Does he find anything else though? Redline just charging forward, flashing forward to use the ultimate. He's going to be able to land it to disengage the attempts coming in from Warlord Reaper, but it's not going to be enough as Redline cashes it onto another kill. This bot lane is monstrous. And now the knockup going to come in from Lord Sleepy, able to find that. But Hawkeye running into issues against Okung, and Okung throwing down the big Kong. Absolutely soloing out Hawkeye, and might need the eyes checked there. Whoo! Little bit of a blind eye instead of a Hawkeye there, and Lord Sleepy just holding up into this top lane. Known going for the incredibly long con here. Long game, playing the long game, going for the Rod of Ages in addition to the Tear of the Goddess. Means that it's going to be a long time before Known becomes relevant. That Kavili almost finds a 1v1 kill. That's so much damage. Oh, here comes the engage coming in from Okong, finds the binding, and that's just a dead Parn Star. And Grumpy, he might end up going a little bit too far, does end up dying there. But it does get traded out here. Kills going over for both mid laners, but Lord Sleepy, he's going to be able to find that blue buff, sneak away there. Kavili having the double buffs is also going to help considerably for that mid lane, having the mana to just battle against the Aatrox, who doesn't have any mana, mana considerations here. And at 15:35 in the game, we are going to see this mid lane tower go down. Now we're looking at this Mountain Dragon. Does the side of Aries try to contest? The answer should be no. But we've seen a little bit of an unconventional play coming out from the side of Aries, so they might just decide they want in onto the action. But with Known just completing the Rod of Ages, it's going to be a long time before this Rise really starts getting off the ground. And by that, I mean another 10 minutes. So 26 minutes, that's when we're going to be looking for the side of Aries to try and look for a little bit of skirmish here. in 10 minutes. Hopefully the Aatrox will have completed that. Oh, here comes Redline. He's going to get engaged upon. He's just dead. Nowhere to go, but they might be able to find something else. That Kavili is going to get engaged upon. Holds on to the cleanse. Feels a little bit too greedy there. Maybe he thought he was dead anyways. And, I mean, it makes sense as well. Doesn't have the flash available, so, you know, nowhere to go in that regard. And now it's going to be Aries looking to respond to this mid lane. With this mid lane tower push, able to secure this. Might even be able to get a kill onto the back of it. Okong's just going to be able to peel away though, and Okong with his Kaisa play has been absolutely beautiful, but he might end up paying for it. It is going to get a little bit of peel assistance coming in from Groppy. Can they close in? But no, it's going to be Sleepy charging forward. Does he find Parnstar? He does! Not get the knockup, but finds the rest of the follow-up as Grumpy. He's going to be in trouble here. Doesn't find the Dragon Strike, and Nigel will be able to walk away, but Okong, he wants more. He's just going to run straight into that bush, dodges out onto that damage, and he is godlike. Whew, this Kaisa is ginormous. Has 9,000 gold in his wallet. What? Well, 2,000 gold. But his net worth is 9,000. That is... Whew, that is... miles above everyone else in the game. The next closest is 7,000 net worth onto the Jarvan of all people. And I mean, Grupp, he's been pretty powerful himself. Just roaming around on this Jarvan pick, finding so much impact, and that's the impact we didn't get to see from Warlord Reaper this game here, and we also didn't get to see that from Gruppy in game number 1 because he was on the Sejuani. He was trying to scale up a little bit, be that big front line for his team. And now we see him as a little bit of a carry threat here. Notice that he can build a little more damage because he has Scion in his back pocket to be that big frontliner. And now we're still waiting for the 26-minute mark when no one gets full stacks onto that Rise Rod of Ages. And just taking stock of the map positioning. Okong, he's just kind of sitting out there by himself, hanging out there, you know. Baron has now spawned. You know, Kong taking himself that red buff at a perfect time, perfect opportunity here. Does the side of... Ooh, here comes the collapse onto Nigel. There is no mid tower. They can go incredibly aggressive for it. They're going to lock him down, but Nigel, he just walks out of the Cataclysm. Doesn't get locked down by the binding from Redline. So it is going to allow them to reset a little bit here. Still, there's 4 ultimates on the side of TGU. And now it is going to be that Muramana now completed. They're going to throw down the ultimate, charging forward, trying to get that collapse onto that mid lane here. As I'm waiting for the fight to actually happen for me. Maybe you guys at home are able to see it. Alright, it is going to be Sleepy trying to get away here. No one dying quite yet, but they do find Warlord Reaper. Sleepy is going to end up falling as well. Nigel Just turning tail and running. As he doesn't want to fight with the zombie form. And a kill picked off at the back end as well is going to feel really nice there. 22 minutes. Okay. They are now going to turn around, get themselves that dragon buff here, as I am at 22:15 here. I think we're kind of close. Should be very... All right. I'm going to do a 30. All right. We are lined up back again for those just tuning in. The Riot are having a little bit of server issues with people just disconnecting from games. And I assume that's carrying over to Spectator because it's a little bit rough here. Probably doesn't help that I'm from NA as well. Maybe amplifies that issue even more. But I mean, even our front stream is having some issues, but with this Inferno Dragon, with this Mountain Dragon, they can just go straight onto the Baron buff. And again, it's just a little bit of difference of capitalizing onto openings. Light Blinding does land, but the ultimate just doesn't put out the damage. With the Mikhails, you have the safety for your team, but that's all you are. You're just utility at this point. In the Lux build, you don't have the damage, you don't have, you know, the even the Grail, the Holy Grail, or even the Sensor. Both of those give that extra little magic damage. And now, you know, one trick Parnstar. I really wonder how much Lux support has he actually put in, and now he's running into a lot of issues. Parnstar, he is just he's not quite dead yet, but now he is. Kong is able to get around the wall. The stun is going to land onto Det Kavili. Det Kavili doesn't have the cleanse available. Nigel going forward, trying to find any sort of extra knockup. And Lord Sleepy, he's perfectly happy just hitting that inhib tower while his team is doing other stuff. Is he able to finish off the tower? And the answer is no. Isn't able to cash in onto that inhibitor, but still able to get a lot of effectiveness from that Baron buff. In 25 minutes into the game, we still aren't quite there with this Rise build. He's almost fully stacked. But again, 26 minutes, that's the moment we're waiting for. And it's just, you can't go for that kind of build if you need the early power. If you've accepted that you're not going to win until 35 minutes, then it makes sense. But this team just lacks the early power. The only early power they really have is in Nigel. And I guess a little bit from One Trick Parnstar. But if you over-index too much into this late game, you're putting too many eggs into this late game basket. And as we've seen so far in these 25 minutes, they've been punished heavily. It's 20 kills to 5. They have a 13k gold lead. It is going to be Sleepy now running forward, trying to lock down Known, trying to cut off his escape, and unable to do so, but you know, they've caught up to the wave. They're trying to pull in the wave. They have waves pushing against them, and it's a little bit of a slow play coming out from TGU. Oh, that is some big damage there. Going for the AP build and also has the Muramata. Means that Single target damage does a lot of damage. And Hawkeye just not having the series he was hoping to have in this high stakes semifinal. Ooh, the flash coming in from Sleepy isn't going to find anything, and they do find Known though, and Known's going to be able to Known thrown 6 feet under. Is he finally online? He finally is online, has the Seraphs completed, but it's just the game's already done. He finally completed that Rod of Ages, that Seraph's Embrace, but the game's done. Can't do anything if the game's done. And okay, maybe the game's not done. Sleepy pushing in. Hawkeye trying to get away. Super Minions streaming in. Will the Super Minions be able to finish it off? I don't think so. Because you've got the respawns coming in from the side of Aries. And yeah, it's just going to be Aries farming out triple waves of Super Minions. So, you know, there's an opportunity for comeback. Namely for Hawkeye. Because he can really get a lot of farm here. Just farming these minion waves. He has that Death Dance, or not Death Dance, Phantom Dancer now completed. That is at least one big breakpoint for them. However, if you're comparing AD carry items, Okong has 4 items. Has the Gwynsu's Rage Blade, has the Muramana, has the Nashers, and the Death Cap. So, still a very tall task. That's all I have to say. And Barnstar, well, at least he's on the board. He's 1-8, but he has the kill now. They find the lockdown onto Lord Sleepy's. Lord Sleepy might be a little bit too far ahead of himself, but it doesn't look like that's the case. They get the reset onto the Aatrox. The Aatrox now going into the res. Okong just jumping in, coming in and cleaning up the fight. He's going to be able to get himself double kill. He's just going to farm away at these minions here. And they're just waiting for that last recall to come in, but it doesn't look like the recall is going to come on in here, and they finish the game with the Super Minions. That's the 2-0 coming in from TGU. In this semi-final matchup. Whoo! And that game was kind of what we were expecting coming into the series, but the flexing coming in from the jungle position, from the AD carry bot lane position was pretty hard in this game number 2, and unfortunate for Serenity Gaming Aries, their season's done. But for TGU-Esports, they're moving on. They've won the semifinals. They're going to be in our grand finals for Division 4 here. So a big congrats to them, securing themselves that top 2 finish. And I mean, moving forward, it really comes down to, you know, keeping our eyes on this bot lane and also that jungle. But with that, that's going to be the end of our stream today, I believe. I don't think it is a best of 5. It is just a best of 3. So that's going to be it from us, from Serenity Gaming. It is myself, of course, bringing you the action. Nightstar. I have Twitter, and you know, it lines up the same with my Twitch account. And of course, a big shout out to Colorpoint for bringing us this stream. And with that, good night to you guys in EU, and we'll see you again soon.